This lunchtime broadcast highlights the news making waves ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports, and economic news. Here are the headlines. Mobile blackout looms as the government rules out extension. NASCAM plans to expand market reach and maximize royalty collection. And Namibia moves up netball rankings. I am Glenora Shipura, and this is NMH at 1. In our midday news update, Martha Namunjembo Tilahun is spreading the Christmas spirit through her foundation and together with her siblings as they hosted elderly people for a Christmas lunch at the Namunjembo residence at Olunkono village on Sunday afternoon. Now, amongst the senior citizens who attended the luncheon are former President Sem Nujoma, Queen of the Okwanyama Traditional Authority, Martha Mwadinomho ya Christian Nelumbu, Okwambi Traditional Authority Chief Herman Dilimani Ipumbu, Omukwanwilwa of Ondongo Philemon Shambwa Nangolo, and Namujembo gifted the elderly and also had free medical checkups. Visual News highlights local stories from across Namibia. Right after the break, we'll be getting into this.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Getting into today's visual news, Namibian Society of Composers and Authors of Music held a press conference last Friday to announce significant organizational changes aimed at improving efficiency and effectiveness in service delivery to members and stakeholders. Addressing journalist, NASCAM Chief Executive Officer Albert Nikano shared their primary objective is to expand NASCAM's market reach and maximize royalty collection by ensuring that all potential market license users are targeted, leading to a significant increase in royalties. Let's take a look.
So the board started their work under the theme, Untaking and Rebuilding NASCAM, with a primary objective to expanding NASCAM market reach and maximizing royalty collection by ensuring that all potential market license users are targeted, leading to a significant increase in our royalty distribution. It is very key. One of our key functions, not just the only one, is to make sure that we collect and distribute royalties. Our main function is to make sure that we protect the rights, but this objective is very key as well. We want to ensure there is growth. So in the future, we want to move that. We want to be able to track to say, I want to actually to continue to hold us accountable and say, okay, you juxtapose NASCAM before the new board and maybe after the new board's term, and then you can see what are the changes that has been coming through. That is key and important for you to be able to track progress in NASCAM's growth. So the board has also made a strategic decision to appoint a chief executive officer, that is me. Since August, I came on board, and I've been on board. And my extensive experience in strategic planning and vision and execution was the key reason why the board has chosen to take me on board. As a result of the new CEO's attention is being directed towards.
Namibian Sun leads us into the newspaper review segment on the other side of this.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My.NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Getting into our newspaper review, Namibian Sun's front page reports that even if the SIM registration deadline were to be extended, there are Namibians who will still miss the new due date, and therefore government will not entertain any extensions. This was confirmed by Information Ministry Executive Director Dr. Adrian Mathe during a joint press conference on Friday on the issue. Mathe also confirmed that there was never any legal requirement for the capturing of biometric data for SIM card registrations. This is despite mobile operators TN Mobile and MTC requiring their subscribers to submit such data. Moving on, Popular Democratic Movement leader Mkhendri Venani says the SWAPO-led government has grown tired of executing its duty of service delivery, adding that the only way accelerated development will be realized is when a new party is voted into power. He made the remarks during a sit-down on the Evening Review and said the evidence can be found in how the government is dealing with the lack of what he termed effective corporate governance ethos at state institutions. On the Republicans' front page, it reports, "My father was a very good father to me. He could joke, but was also serious at the right time. He was a good fisherman and knew the Namib very well." This is how Siggy Kostens Sr. talks about his father, Siegfried Herman Kostens, who settled himself and his family permanently in Henties Bay in 1954. The Kostens family is recognized in Albie van der Merwe's book as one of the first permanent residents of Henties Bay. Siegfried Kostens also established the first shop on Henties Bay, but apparently made most of his income from catfish that he caught, smoked, and then sold inland. On page 3 of the Republican, 4 teams consisting of 45 trained scientists traveled thousands of kilometers in the Kunene region from the 6th of November 2022 to the 6th of January 2023 to track and individually identify the adult wild lions in the area. According to Conservation Namibia, the team consisted of staff from the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism in collaboration with the Lion Rangers, the Namibian Lion Trust, as well as field staff from Integrated Rural Development and Nature Conservation. The population survey was designed by researchers in consultation with MEFT staff and relied heavily on the expertise of lion keepers and other local conservationists. According to Conservation Namibia, the survey focused on an area of 41,000 kilometers squared. Now moving on to the Allgemeine Zeitung's front page. According to the UN Refugee Agency, the Osire refugee settlement is affected by severe food insecurity. It recommends cash transfers instead of inadequate monthly food rations, which are currently only enough for half a month, reports the Allgemeine Zeitung. On page 3, the paper reports that a detainee claimed that a fellow inmate stabbed him in the lower back with a wire during a brawl on July 13, 2021, and that the NCS officers failed to provide him with medical care. Now, after the break, we'll continue with more newspaper review.
To another exciting episode of Irongo Talk. We bring jou dit weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis heel moontlik kan byt.
We continue with our newspaper review. The Namibian newspaper reports that the Namibian police has splurged over $2.5 million Namibian on sleek Mercedes-Benz for Mercedes-Benz for Inspector General Joseph Shikongo. His luxurious car is among 27 new vehicles the police have procured for $11 million Namibian before the end of March, which marks the end of government's previous financial year. National Police spokesperson Deputy Commissioner Kauna Shikwampi confirmed this on Thursday. On page 3, Independent Patriots for Change leader Panduleni Itula says if elected into power, his party would save the country $31.2 billion, allegedly paid to ministers and their deputies in monthly salaries. Itula said this at a party rally at Helau Nafidi on Saturday. He promised to reduce the cabinet from 33 to 13 ministers and stop wasting money through subsistence and travel allowances. New Era zooms in on 32-year-old Yaderukwa Beverly Kamungwa, one of many female offenders raising a newborn baby behind the four corners of the Ventuk Correctional Facility. Kamungwa, who was born and raised in Okakarara, is a mother of 5 children. She is currently serving her sentence for human trafficking and rape after being found guilty a year ago and getting an effective term of 20 years. When she started serving her sentence, Kamungwa was 3 months pregnant. She has since given birth and is allowed to care for her 10-month-old baby until the age of 2, at which point the child will be handed over to family members or social workers in the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare. On the New Era's page 3, it reports the Ministry of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security is set to construct a new regional office for civic affairs in the Zambezi region. The office will cost the government about $100 million and house the Immigration and Refugee Departments as well as correctional services. Speaking during the groundbreaking on Wednesday, Home Affairs Minister Albert Kawana said the construction of the new office will go a long way in addressing the need for office space in the region. They are currently operating from a 3-bedroom rented house. On to Market Watch, traders brought forward their bets for South Africa's first interest rate cut to March 2024 after the amount of money flowing into the economy and loans to the private sector recorded their weakest growth in almost 2 years. Growth in money supply and private credit extension rose less than expected at 6% and 3.9% in October, respectively, from a year earlier. The median estimate in a Bloomberg survey was for growth of 7.1% and 4.3%, respectively. Now, a meeting will take place next year between African elephant range states, including Namibia, and the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. More on this after the break.
We are so excited to be kickstarting your morning with entertainment.
Everything was happening during this past weekend.
Yes.
Exciting news.
Wow, no, she was killing it already.
In my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with him serving the full term.
As well as keeping you informed on the issues that you need to know happening in and around our country.
Getting into our economic news, a meeting will take place next year between African elephant range states, including Namibia, and the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora to discuss the trade in live African elephants. This was one of the vital decisions made at the 77th meeting of CITES Standing Committee, which took place in Geneva last month. Trade in precious timber and conservation of elephants and big cats were among the many critical matters reviewed at the meeting. Convened almost a year after the convention's 19th conference of the parties in Panama City, the meeting gathered nearly 600 participants from 84 parties, 15 international organizations, 88 non-governmental organizations, including representatives from indigenous peoples and several representatives of the private sector. At the meeting, over the course of 5 days and 77 agenda items, CITES said the committee deliberated on a range of compliance issues which concern the requirements for parties to have a regulatory and control system in place to ensure that trade is legal, sustainable, and traceable. Let's take a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar trades against the British pound at 23.13, against the euro at 19.93, against the US dollar at 18.26, against the Chinese yuan at 2.56. On the Namibia Stock Exchange, all major stocks remained unchanged. Overall index closed at 4.68%, going up. On the commodities market, gold and platinum went up while copper and Brent crude oil went down. Brent crude oil trading at 1.47%, going for $76.17 per barrel. Now, a 34-year-old woman has been arrested in South Africa for alleged involvement in human trafficking. After the break, we expand on this story.
Namibians are still safe.
Everywhere else, the Supreme Court said we are not going to rely on foreign judgments.
By all means, we try to not make journalists public figures, but at the end of the day, they are.
Very good evening. My name is Taiwan Jabala, your host.
With their Protestant offsprings.
But the implementation, like she's saying, is another thing.
Getting into our news from Africa, the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, Hawks, have arrested a 34-year-old woman for her alleged involvement in human trafficking. According to Lieutenant Colonel Sia Bulela Vukumbi, her arrest comes after the Hawks received information last Wednesday that 3 young girls had been trafficked from West Africa into South Africa a few months ago inside a shipping container. They were allegedly given fake passports. Information was that the girls were advertised on an escort website and were kept in a residential complex in George, said Vukumbi. The serious organized crime investigation team operationalized the information and a search was conducted at the premises. They found 4 women suspected to have been trafficked. The victims, between the ages of 21 and 47, were rescued and kept in a place of safety after they were taken for medical assessment. The suspect, who is allegedly the caretaker on the premises, was arrested and is expected to appear at George Magistrates Court today on charges of contravention of Section 4(1) and Section 7 of the Prevention and Combating of the Trafficking in Persons Act, Act 7 of 2013. Now, in our next story, Sudan's Foreign Affairs Ministry has ordered 3 Chadian diplomats to leave the country within 72 hours in retaliation for a similar move by Chad. Chad's government had on Saturday declared 4 Sudanese diplomats attached to Sudan's embassy in N'Djamena as persona non grata and ordered their exit from the country within 72 hours. It made the decision after 2 Sudanese officials accused Chad's government of interfering in the ongoing conflict in Khartoum by supporting the paramilitary group Rapid Support Forces. Now, the recurrence of such statements by Sudanese authorities with regards to Chad and its government is simply not acceptable, hostile, and mask a hidden agenda. A spokesperson of Chad's government was quoted as saying in a statement by the Reuters news agency. Now, after the break, we'll be getting into your international news. Do stay with NMH at 1.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
In our international news, at least 9 workers were killed in a blast Sunday at a factory manufacturing drones and explosives in Western India, the government said. The explosion at Solar Industries India in Maharashtra state's Nagpur city happened when the workers were in the packing area. It is very unfortunate that 9 people, including 6 women, died in the explosion at Solar Industries in Nagpur. The state's Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis said on X, formerly known as Twitter. The company manufactures drones and explosives for the country's defense forces, he added. The state government will provide $6,000 each to the families of those who died in the accident. Police have launched a probe into the incident that also left at least 3 workers injured. Now, industrial disasters are common in India, with experts blaming poor planning and lax enforcement of safety rules. Last year, 11 people were killed in eastern Bihar state after an explosion at a house where firecrackers were being manufactured illegally. And in 2021, 19 people died in a blast at a firecracker factory in southern Tamil Nadu state. After the break, we'll be getting into the world of sports. To stay with NMH at 1.
Welcome to Active Kids, a daily TV show that sparks creativity, learning, and fun for young minds. With exciting activities and lessons, Active Kids inspires curiosity and a love for learning.
New face to the 15.
The perfect mix of play and education. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune in to Active Kids on NTV every weekday at 10 o'clock and let the adventure begin.
Getting into our local sports news, World Netball last week updated the world rankings, which saw Namibia break into the top 20 best netballing nations of the world. Namibia was previously ranked 22nd by World Netball and has now moved up 2 places. WN said the rankings include the results from the international series that took place from the 30th of September to the 10th of December, with 84 matches taking place across 5 regions. Namibia was rewarded in the rankings for success in the Africa Netball Cup, earning silver medals at the Africa Netball Cup, which took place in Gaborone, Botswana from the 28th of November to the 7th of December. Definitely good news for Namibia. Moving on, the Namibian Boxing Federation has given another lifeline to 5 amateur boxers to travel to Italy for next year's Paris Olympic qualifiers. Namibia will be represented by the 5 fighters in the tournament set to be held in Busto Arsizio, Italy from the 29th of February to the 12th of March 2024. This is the first World Olympic boxing qualifier that will be held in Italy, with the second scheduled for the Thai capital Bangkok from the 23rd of May to the 3rd of June 2024. The boxers will be accompanied by 2 coaches. Head coach Colin Benjamin announced the Brave Warriors 34-man preliminary squad for the Africa Cup of Nations last Friday. The preliminary squad will go through a 3-day assessment training camp starting today and will be trimmed down to the final 27 players for another training camp ahead of the tournament. The 34th edition of the Biennial Continental Showpiece will be held in Ivory Coast from the 13th of January to the 11th of February 2024. Players based in Namibia are expected to report to the Namibia Football Association Soccer House by latest 2 p.m. After the break, we'll be getting into your international sports news.
Welcome to My.NA Cars, your ultimate destination for everything automotive.
I am your host, Diana Master.
Teamwork makes the dream work, right?
Discover the latest models, innovative technologies, and expert insights from our passionate hosts. Learn essential maintenance tips and get exclusive behind-the-scenes access to the automotive industry. Don't miss My .NA Cars on NTV every Thursday at 2100 hours. Tune in and ignite your passion for automobiles.
Getting into our international sports news, FIFA announced on Sunday that its revamped Club World Cup, to be held for the first time in 2025, will feature 32 teams and will be played from mid-June to mid-July. Following are details of how the tournament will work. The United States will host the 2025 edition of the expanded event, which will be held every 4 years thereafter. The tournament will have 8 groups of 4, with the top 2 teams from each group going through to the knockout stages, the same format as the World Cup. The current version of the FIFA Club World Cup, an annual competition with 7 teams, will be discontinued after the tournament now being hosted by Saudi Arabia. Now, Europe will have 12 teams in the new competition, and South America will have 6, while Africa, Asia, and North America will have 4 each. Oceania has 1 slot, while the final slot will be allocated to a club from the host country. Now, Liverpool condemned the damage caused to Manchester United's bus after a bottle was thrown at it on its way to Anfield ahead of Sunday's derby. Jurgen Klopp's side missed the chance to regain top spot in the Premier League after being held to a goalless draw by Manchester United, ending their unblemished run at home this season. We are aware of images of the incident circulating on the internet and are working with Merseyside police to fully investigate and identify those responsible, the club said in a statement, adding that any individual found guilty of this reprehensible behavior will also face the full force of the club's sanction process. Moving on, former Formula One world champion Jenson Button will drive a Jota Porsche 963 in the World Endurance Championship next year. Button, 43, is set to race in the world's top hypercar category, which includes the famous Le Mans 24 hours race. "I'm still at the top of my game. I've got a pass from my wife," he said. We now go for a quick ad break.
To another exciting episode of Irongo Talk. We bring jou lees die weer en vertel ook vir julle waar die vis heel moontlik gaan byt.
Here are the news highlights from today's broadcast. The Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation Hawks have arrested a 34-year-old woman for her alleged involvement in human trafficking. At least 9 workers were killed in a blast on Sunday at a factory manufacturing drones and explosives in western India, the government said. FIFA announced on Sunday that its revamped Club World Cup, to be held for the first time in 2025, will feature 32 teams and will be played from mid-June to mid-July. And those have been your highlights. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. to spend your lunch hour with NMH at 1, catching up on the latest news in Namibia and beyond. From me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.